David gathers materials for the temple. And David the king said to all the assembly, Solomon my son, whom alone God has chosen, is young and inexperienced, and the work is great. For the palace will not be for man, for the Lord God. So I have provided for the house of my God, so far as I was able. Moreover, in addition to all that, I have provided for the holy house. I have a treasure of my own, gold and silver. And because of my devotion to the house of my God, I gave it to the house of my God. Who then will offer willingly, consecrating himself today to the Lord? Then the leaders of fathers' houses made their freewill offerings, as did also the leaders of the tribes, commanders of thousands and of hundreds, and the officers over the king's work. Then the people rejoiced because they had given willingly, for with a whole heart they had offered freely to the Lord. 1 Chronicles 29, 1-9. Following the Sunday sermon on giving, I transitioned to one of the exit doors during the closing prayer to greet those who would exit that way. I will never forget the words spoken by one of the members. If I had known you would be preaching on giving today, I would have stayed at home. I do not remember my response. I am sure it was something merciful like, I am glad that you were here. Her words have stuck with me throughout the years. The Bible has a great deal to say about giving. This passage has a great deal to say about giving. The Bible is clear. Our generous and giving God expects His children to be generous and obedient givers. Notice the attitude of the people of God when they recognized that their giving was to the Lord. It was part of their worship. It was God's way of inviting His people to be a part of His work. Also notice that the giving in this chapter was to meet the practical need of the construction of the temple. Sometimes we think that building projects are not very spiritual. The Bible teaches us otherwise. All of our giving is to the Lord. In fact, it was such a deep expression of His worship that King David modeled worshipful generosity for the people as he gave to a temple that he would not see. When we have this attitude in our giving, then we will experience the joy in giving generously to the Lord. In the New Testament, Paul expressed the same truth, that we as Christians are to be cheerful givers no matter the cause, because ultimately it is to the Lord. Remember, giving to meet practical needs is still very pleasing to God. In response to this devotion, consider these questions. What is your response to David's generosity in light of his knowing the temple would be built by Solomon? How does this show David's attitude toward worship? And secondly, what models for generous giving have had a profound impact on your life? For whom would you hope that your example of generous giving would be equally significant?